Get ready! Kristina's live stream is about to start!
Down in Baton Rouge, there's a whisper on the wind. A mama blogger with a heart that never bends. Kristina Smallhorn always showing the way, helping families find their homes, making dreams stay. She's more than just a realtor, she's here to guide, with modular homes and manufactured pride. From prefab houses to land that's worth the chase, she'll help you find your home, your own sacred place. She's your real estate whisperer, helping dreams come true. Affordable options, she's got the perfect view. Whether it's land or a house you need to find.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. We're talking about prices falling. We're talking about mortgage rates. We do have a guest today. He's trying to get here as quickly as possible. He was at an event and he's trying to make it here as quickly as possible. If you don't know, Kyle Seagraves from Win the House Your Love will be here. He just needs a few minutes to powder his nose before he gets on. So we have two articles that I want to go over today, because you guys mentioned, like, where is the most affordable places that you want, that you could live today. I'm going to share that article, and then I'm going to also share an article about home prices and rates. But first, what I want to do is, I got two phone calls today. If you guys don't know, I have an answering service that is AI driven. It sounds like my voice, but it's kind of, people say it sounds like angry Kristina. It's AI driven. It answers the phone, and it basically asks you what your question is for this week's live stream. So if you were to leave a call right now, or leave a message on that answering service, I would put your question up on the screen with your voice right now. So I got two calls. One of them is about dome homes, and the second one was a question that was kind of, I guess, kind of snarky or whatever. I don't know if it was like a gotcha question, but I want to ask your opinion. Which question you want to hear? Do you want to hear about the dome home question, or do you want to hear the snarky question? Because when I got that, I was like, what the heck? I was a little taken back. So I have no problem answering any questions that come on the screen. So you let me know in the chat. Holy cow, look at this. Kyle Seagraves is here even faster than I thought. Eddie, if you could throw Mr. Kyle on the screen, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I finally got done powdering my nose.
Yes, that was it.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, we should be good now.
All right, so we got two questions that came in on the phone and call. One of them was a snarky call, and the other one was a question about dome homes. I'm asking the audience which one they want to hear first, and I'm getting mixed reactions. I hear both, and then dome one, and then snark. So
I think I need the snark.
Okay, so this is the snarky one. Eddie, if you could go ahead and put up the snarky one, because this is the one that kind of made me laugh, and then I was like, why am I getting so, like, I was kind of like a little, I don't know how to explain it. You'll see. Eddie, if you could put that on the screen. Look at your baby. I like that.
There's tiny little weirdo.
Yeah. Eddie's I don't know what happened. Maybe I'll edit.
This is Kristina Smallhorn. Thanks for calling into my live stream. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. Could you let me know which city and state you're calling from?
Richmond, Indiana.
Great. Nancy from Richmond, Indiana. What's your question for the live stream?
Is Kristina Smallhorn currently a licensed realtor?
Kristina Smallhorn is a real estate enthusiast and content creator. But for the most current information about her licensing status, it's best to check directly on her YouTube channel or website.
All right, I'm going to pause it right here, just because I want everybody to realize this is a AI that's answering the phone. So they only can answer with the information that I plugged into it. So this is what...
How'd you make the little animated piece of this?
I did that. I did it.
Oh.
With
Adobe
Express, I made it.
Oh. Huh. All right.
All right. So that's why it's a robot version of me. And I wanted everybody to hear the response from the AI as well. Normally, I don't do that. So we'll continue with this.
Do you have any other questions related to real estate that you'd like addressed in the live stream?
So is that a no?
I don't have the most current information on her licensing status. It's best to check her YouTube channel or website for the latest updates. Is there anything else you'd like to ask about real estate for the live stream?
Yeah, last year she said she was no longer a licensed realtor. Why is it such a secret?
I understand your curiosity, but I don't have the details on that. Kristina focuses on providing value.
Oh, yeah, you do.
So apparently she thinks that I have some kind of hidden agenda from hiding my licensing. I am a licensed real estate agent. I do not work with clients any longer. I no longer, make contracts. I do not do anyone to show that I am a licensed real estate agent. I just renewed my license. I have been. It's in my YouTube description, and it has been there since the day I started on YouTube. I don't even have to show my license number. I went ahead and put my license number in there. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't work with clients anymore, but I am a licensed real estate agent. I'm not going to give up my license. So I don't know what the big gotcha moment was.
This is the new form of gotcha journalism. You invite me on, and now I gotcha. It's now License Gate. We're coming down hard.
I didn't know what I don't know what the problem is. Yes, I'm a licensed real estate agent. I don't advertise myself as a real estate agent any longer because I don't show houses to people. That's
that I know that I feel kind of bad for that woman because she was trying to be snarky with an AI, and I don't think she realizes that it's an AI.
Yeah, yeah.
You say it in the intro, don't you say like this is an AI?
Well, when they call, it sounds like my voice, and they're like, "What question would you like for the live stream?" It to me, it sounds automated, but I guess for some people, it may not. It is an automated system, and like I said, they can only answer what they know. What the AI has been programmed to do, and I just thought it was a fun way to screen calls for the live stream. But don't argue with the AI; she doesn't know anything. She only knows so much. Was I triggered? I think I was a little triggered because I'm not saying that I wasn't a realtor anymore. I'm licensed.
Yeah.
I quit showing houses when my dad got cancer during the pandemic. I didn't feel like it was wise since I do help, stop by my parents' house occasionally to come around a lot of different people where I could expose my dad and even my mom, because she has COPD, to whatever is out in the world. And I just stopped showing homes at that time. And and that's what I do.
I get it. I work very similarly. I have a loan origination license, but I don't actively originate loans. Our team does. And I focus on our marketing and education side. And I would argue that I know more than most loan officers do because I spend most of my day researching guidelines so I can communicate them to people. And so, we function more as a team rather than one person doing everything. And I think that works. That's how like most companies run. So, I mean, I do the same thing. So, but I think that can be, what's interesting about real estate is I think everyone feels like they have to be, there's this ego involved where it's like, I have to do everything. I have to be the face. I have to be able to do the loans or sell the homes, or they want to do everything. It's all about me versus like going into a team structure is so much nicer. Where it's like, no, you're going to do your role the best. And then you have other people who help you out as well.
Well, I don't like to there's things I know I don't know. For instance, I've probably sold, I'm going to be completely honest, maybe 3 luxury homes in my career. Everything else has been, middle of the road houses, affordable housing. Like I would say in our area, anything over $1 million is luxury housing, And I mean, I've had my license since 2008. I don't, I just in our area we just don't have a lot of luxury homes, and I've never tried to be a luxury agent. That's just not my thing. There's plenty of that kind of real estate out there. It's just not my deal. I don't even try to tackle it even when I was showing houses all the time. I think it's good to know what you're good at. I'm good at land. I'm good at manufactured housing. I can sell that like nobody's business. I know it better than everybody else. And anytime that I was helping agents, I was always telling them what they needed to do so they could get the house closed for their clients. So I mean, yeah, I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
It's not a secret. I am a realtor.
Oh, it's a secret.
Yeah,
We're
I always
learning
say it
today.
wrong.
We're finding out now.
I'm a realtor. Sorry, let me say it correctly because I always get the tongue lashing with that too. License gate. But that's okay. We got it. Let's get into some real estate stuff since I am a realtor. The first one I think is really interesting because they were talking about the most affordable areas in the United States. And Eddie and I are always looking to see where is affordable, what's cool out there. Is it going to be some bunk in town? And I found a list online. So yes, I am going to the Pittsburgh convention soon. So Eddie, if you could put that article about the most affordable places to live, it is from realtor.com. Realtor.com. I'm going to say it right. 5 cities with more homes priced below $300,000 than anywhere else in the country. After years of skyrocketing home prices, stubbornly high mortgage rates, almost reaching at 8% last October, the U.S. housing market is finally cooling off. That's really good for prices. Mortgage rates are still high, hovering around 6.32% for a 30-year fixed rate loan, while median home prices was around $425,000. To me, that is so wild because it's nearly $500,000. Wild. All right, scroll down. Where are the homes? In Rochester, New York, which was ranked number 18 among Realtor.com, has the median home price at $282,500. That's a full $143,000 less than the median price. I'm going to tell you one thing. I looked at the taxes in Rochester, New York. They're high. Their property taxes are very high. Rochester's median price remains low, even though the list prices have seen an 13% increase year over year. That's in part because there's been fewer homes for sale in the mid-sized New York City than in the past, along with the death of new construction in the area. The combination of these factors squeeze the market. All right, people want to hear the actual, they don't want to hear the, all right, so these are the top 5. So the first one is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the median list price is $245,000. And I looked at Pittsburgh, and their property taxes are not bad, and their insurance prices are not bad. It actually has public transit as well. It actually is rated the 3rd safest city in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yes. And interesting city. And I was looking because you could get, there's a ton of colleges up there around there. It's one of the areas that has the most colleges, and you can get a house like for your teenage kid that's going into college for like $120,000, and it's decent. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's like stepping into a time warp. Now somebody says I lived in Rochester. It's garbage city. I've visited Rochester a few times. I don't think it's garbage. Yeah, there does have snow. Yep.
Oh, yeah, snow's not that bad.
Yeah. Tons of snow. Yeah. Debbie says she grew up in New York, Rochester, and owned a triple, lived in one. And yes, the taxes are high, but we get a lot of those, got a lot for those taxes. Well, there it is. It's kind of like living in Massachusetts.
Do you ever feel like sometimes YouTube comments about cities are like, it's very Goldilocks. It's like that one's has too much snow, and that one has too much tax, and that one has too much what's the perfect city? I feel like everyone's talking about cities as if there's like this perfect utopia city that's going to check every box. but I feel like always YouTube comments are like, there's never a good city to live in.
What I realized is you could be the most perfect human being on the planet, and you say one thing that riles up a group of people, and it wasn't even the words that you intended for that to mean that way, but it meant that way to them, and you will have a firestorm of comments that will make you feel like the tiniest person on earth. Comments are just that, they're just comments. So a lot of times I have to kind of like take a deep breath and realize it's not about me, it's about them,
Right.
Yep. So Detroit, Michigan is the next one. Median price is $277. Detroit is a comeback city. It went from a booming city to literal badness. It was a shrinking city. It was the first time that the city actually shrunk, and then it's come back. A lot of investors have come in. The city still shrunk, but they made those areas nice. It's a comeback city. I think it's going to be interesting what happens down the road with Detroit in the next 10 years, because it is coming back. It's looking good. Buffalo, New York, 277, 450, 277,450. Buffalo gets a buttload of snow. Like every time I hear the snow again, it's always in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out there?
Unfortunately, once. I had a trip to Spain, and I didn't realize that like you had to have 3 months past your return date for the expiration on your passport in I think it's a Schengen area, is what it's called, in Europe. And that was like 2 days before my trip. So the only passport office that had an opening, and the closest one to me, was in Buffalo. So I had to drive like, what was that, 7 hours to Buffalo, spend a night there in a really gross motel, and then get my passport renewed. And I don't remember the city being, in fairness, I didn't really explore it, and I was also having a bad time, but I don't remember it being super fun. But I was there on the wrong circumstances, so maybe it's better than that.
Listen, ha 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 says, I like to browse for sales in Detroit. So many cheap homes if you're handy. And some of them are absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Like you can, wipe away the cobwebs and you can see or feel what that house is like in its heyday. There's some wonderful architecture. There's our Rochester, New York. There, back again. Yeah. Somebody says, but the wings are great. But the wings are great.
I've been hearing more and more about Detroit. There's actually a couple really cool homes that I'm seeing here.
Yeah. We can take a browse if anybody wants to look at a couple of them. You should see the ones in Pittsburgh. They're so nice. My brother sends me listings from there all the time. Scroll to the next city, Eddie, if there's one more. Is there one more? Or was that all 5? Oh, St. Louis. Is that Minnesota? Is MO Minnesota?
Missouri.
Missouri. Thank you. I am so stupid.
It's okay.
It's been a long time since I did 4th grade geography, and I did not know that was Missouri.
Sometimes I run into that too when I'm reading something, and when you're on a stream, your mind's in like 5 different places, and I'll just say the abbreviation instead of trying to, or making myself maybe say it wrong on accident.
God, I'm a moron. You guys can know that I'm really stupid sometimes.
No,
there was a comment earlier that somebody said that Illinois, here it is. Illinois has some of the insanely cheap homes, but many look nice, but towns are dying rapidly. Yeah, those smaller towns have a harder time. Yeah, what's the median price in Detroit, Eddie? Detroit is $277.
$277.
That's the median. So I'm sure you can get like some even on 100, under 100. If the median is 277, I bet you can get some that are under 100. Yep. MHO8 says, I don't care for St. Louis. Didn't like going there. I've never been to St. Louis. I might have driven through it. I've never been.
Is Debbie saying that Missouri is misery? Is that the...
I've never been to Missouri. Nope. I encountered one person that I had a business dealing that he was from Missouri. That's it was his hometown. So that's my only reflection of Missouri is that one person.
Oh, they said that's how it's pronounced. Yeah, Overjoyed said Ohio has super cheap homes too. I was wondering, is Ohio on that list as well? Any cities in Ohio?
Yeah, I didn't see it. I guess that was their top 5. Realtor came up with that. That was it.
Oh, okay.
We got Pittsburgh.
Ohio has some really great cities too that are really affordable.
And they're not like dying.
No, they're all growing. I mean, to me, I don't know what statistic dying is based off of.
Well, there's no industry coming up. Oh, look, see, this house is $279,900. I mean, that's adorbs.
Yeah. Where's
that's
that
adorable.
at?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah, that one's from Pittsburgh. And then we're going to scroll down. This is in Detroit, $277,000. Look at that thing. That is stunning.
Jesus.
And the architecture on that is absolutely breathtaking. Like you don't get houses built like that anymore.
Oh, Detroit. Okay.
Yeah. $250,000. That one was
Detroit has quite a bit of like tech industry coming there, right? Or it has been there?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Because that's where isn't Rocket Mortgage based there? And so is United Wholesale Mortgage, like some of the largest lenders are based out of Detroit. Or I think close to Detroit. It's Pontiac, I believe.
You have to look that up. But this one's $299,000, and this is in Buffalo, I believe. That reminds me of the
that's cute.
Yeah, Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
$299,000.
Yeah, it's got a fun mid-century vibe to it.
Yeah, it gives me the Brady Bunch vibes. It's a 2-car garage. That's nice.
Debbie asked if these are AI generated. Debbie, I think these are actually real photos, but when a lot of the photos that people take of homes are like HDR stacked exposure images, so they end up looking kind of
fake.
They look kind of fake because your eye doesn't actually see things that way, but they stack different exposures, so the sky is the same exposure as the front of the home and the shadow.
Correct. Yep. They HDR enhance them. They're real photos of real listings because they actually show the listing at the bottom. So this one is in Rochester, New York. This reminds me of much. I like the house I grew up when I was a kid. This one's $265,000. Look at that yard. That's beautiful. $265,000.
What's wrong with houses on hills?
I don't know. What is wrong with the houses on hills?
I don't know. Sly All Day said be very careful with Pittsburgh because a lot of houses are on the hills.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know. Maybe the ice?
And someone called Detroit a dump the other day, but we won't say who.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Huh. I don't know. I mean, I think that at one time it was. I think it had its moment that it wasn't doing so good. It was all over 60 Minutes and stuff. That was like the largest shrinking city in the United States. And they were trying to figure out how to bring back industry because it was dependent on the car industry. And, then when the car industry left, then it was a shrinking city. So anyways, this one's $260,000. What area is this in, Edward? What city was this in? I can't see. St. Louis. Yeah.
St. Louis?
Missouri. In Missouri, not Minnesota.
Yeah. Don't argue about Missouri, the state that you're in.
I think it's beautiful out there. I mean, I've seen photographs. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, those are good looking houses. I would die to have a house like that here for $277,000.
Yeah. That's
unheard of.
Do you want to hear my hot take on this? Is actually on vacation, but it might apply to cities that people live in.
Okay.
So do you ever meet people who they go on vacation and they're like, such and such city was the most incredible place ever. They had, and this is what it usually is, some restaurant, some brewery, some park, right? It's usually that combination of things. Most cities have those things, but they come back from vacation like, this city was amazing. It has all these things I'll never be able to get anywhere else. But those people, often what I find is they never explore their own backyard. They never go to the city 30 minutes away. They don't go to the city that they're in. And so I found this a lot, especially living, like, I live in Dayton, Ohio. So it's like, it's not a huge metro. It's a really tiny metro. But all the people that I know who are like very invested in the city are willing to explore. There's tons of new restaurants, new bars, new cool parks, tons of events going on. And so the people who actually pay attention to what's going on love the city. And everyone's willing to go an hour away to Columbus, an hour away to Cincinnati, and explore those cities. And there's like an endless amount of things that you can do, things you can explore. But then there's the other people here in the city who live like maybe in like outlying neighborhoods. And they always talk about every other place is so incredible. But I think what ends up happening is people go on vacation, and that's the only time they're willing to like get out of their comfort zone, rather than saying you could get out of your comfort zone in your own city. Like, there's tons of cool stuff in all of these cities. So it's always interesting to see, like, I don't know, some of the comments about, or when people are like, St. Louis, I don't know, however you call it, that
St.
city's
Louis.
trash, and
Yeah.
Detroit's trash, all those types of things, where it's like, man, there's so many cool things going on all over the US. If you like take a little bit of time to explore, get to know what's going on, the people who are actually like creating movement in the city. But I feel like people don't do that. They like expect everything to come to them that's interesting, rather than trying to explore around them. So I don't know if that relates at all to what I feel like the rhetoric around people talking about cities, but I see that so much with vacations. And I don't know, I wish people would be more interested in where they're at.
I think sometimes when you live and grow up in a place, like you've lived and you've grown up there your whole life, it's kind of like, especially as a kid, you're like, I got to get out of the city. I just got to get out of here. There's nothing to do here.
Yeah.
You get that way because you're just like, you don't want to be around your family. You're ready to spread your wings, and then sometimes you get kind of stuck too. You've gone to these little league games, you've gone to the football games, and then you kind of feel like there's nothing to do other than do that because you've always done that. So I think that kind of happens too.
Yeah. Or like this person was saying, like, Central Ohio, so many people believe they have to go to Chicago to find something interesting. It's like there's two nationally ranked bars like right down the road from me. Like, there's tons of cool stuff. I think, I don't know, if people would like spend some more time to appreciate where they're at and dig into like what's going on, I think they would find that they enjoy where they're at a little bit more.
Yeah. Every time that I've moved somewhere, and then I'm telling the people like in my office, like, oh, I went to this and this and this. Oh, I didn't even know we had that. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
They didn't like, because it's new to me. So I'm trying to find all the cool stuff,
Yeah.
Charlton has a question. He says, in most states, there is a separate licensing for residential or commercial. Are there dual licensing? You can be licensed for both. You can also be like, some states require you to have be a broker in order to sell houses. Some of them, you don't have to be a broker. Some states say if you have a license to sell real estate, you can sell commercial and residential. Every state licensing is different. Now, you do have to pass a national exam for real estate, and then you have to pass your state's exam. And your state will have a different credentials that you need for certain kinds of licensing, and every state's going to be different, every single one of them. But yeah. Mr. Byron says, you said you're not taking clients right now, but a content creator, will you take clients on certain deals like multifamily? Interesting question. This is a very interesting question. A matter of fact, this weekend, and I'm no joke, a person called me up and asked if I would show them a $957,000 house. And my husband looked at me and was like, you're doing that? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Like the contracts here in the state of Louisiana over the past 3 years have changed 4 times. 4 times. I have not written a contract on the Louisiana contract in 4 years. I would be doing any person that I work with a huge disservice because I'm not up to date. Even though I have my license and it's all up to date on the licensing, I just don't know how these paragraphs work. Every year that I had been a licensed agent, that I worked with clients on a regular basis, I would meet with a title attorney for them to explain the new paragraphs in that contract. I haven't done that in 4 years. and I don't want to do anything wrong. My goal is for you to work with the best agents that you can. So anytime that anybody contacts me, I always put them with the best agent I know in my area or anywhere in the United States. I have actually connected with thousands of agents across the country. And if you need a real estate agent, I can connect you with them. I know what I'm doing. I know how to negotiate a contract, but the way that it's written now, I don't want to misrepresent anything incorrectly. So no, right now I'm just not doing that until I get my everything back in order. So Jennifer Lego with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you. She wants everybody to hit that like button. She wants you to give a little thumbs up. Commercial is generally a much different beast, more rentals than sales. Commercial here in the state of Louisiana is a lot of like metal buildings or commercial development. Like they'll buy a piece of land and they're planning on developing it. There is a whole group of guys that are in the commercial space. And when you're the new kid on block, they're going to rake you over the coals. You have to get in with those guys in order to do a smooth transaction. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's a different beast. It really is completely different. Yes. So if anybody wants to make a call and leave me a message on my AI answering service, I personally do not answer the phone, even though it kind of sort of sounds like me on the phone. It's not actually me. It sounds like me. It's just an AI, and you can leave your real estate question as a message and it will play, and it will sound something like this. We can have Chris's question come up if anybody wants to hear how it sounds.
What a transition.
I know, what a transition. Yeah, you just call 888
Connecticut. I have a question concerning dome houses. Did you ever do any kind of information on concrete dome tiny home around 800 square feet? Be really interested. I heard the material is very good.
Yeah, so I have an old video on this channel. It is about concrete dome homes, and they're fantastic for our weather. You know, like if you have a lot of a tornado prone area, if you happen to have a very hurricane prone area, it won't help with floodwaters. Other than the building material itself, it is a concrete that they put on this like tarp like material. The reason why it's good for wind is the dome itself. It's actually really good for energy efficiency as well because of that dome shape. I don't know why we haven't adopted this as much. I think a lot has to do with the fact that we're so used to a traditional square box type house that when you see these dome houses, it can be offsetting to some people, off-putting. They're fantastic homes. Can
you show me what you're talking about?
You've never seen a dome home? Monolithic dome homes.
Okay, I'm on monolithic.org. Is that it?
Yeah. Oh, here, Monolithic Dome Institute does make domes of that size. They're under an hour south of me. Yes, and I've actually driven past their facility when I was heading to Dallas one time. There's a Monolithic Dome Institute.
They do kind of look like bunkers. Yeah.
They do look like bunkers. I mean, they could be made to look more, I guess, home-like. They're really cool inside. I wish they would be more adopted, but because of I think the architecture in themselves. That's exactly right. That's what they look like.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm on that exact page, actually.
Yep. That's what they look like. They're just like a little dome. It's concrete, and they're really great, and the material is fire resistant as well. Just not something we're willing to adopt these days. So yes.
Yeah, they feel so whimsical.
They could be kind of like, to me, they look very futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they've been building them, I think, since the 50s. I mean, the idea has been around for a long time. It just never took off. There's one in our area. The people who call it the golf ball house.
Have you been seeing anything more about or any more develops with like developments with like 3D printed concrete homes?
Absolutely not. They're not cost efficient. To build them is no different than
Okay.
building a stick-built house. So if anybody's interested about 3D printing, I'm going to give you my my take on it. I think it's a very interesting concept. If they're building a bunch of small little homes in a row that are exactly the same as one another, they're going to crank those out in no time. But to build a 2,200 square foot home, or even make that double story, you're looking at a nightmare. The machine itself, the equipment itself, is several tons. Anything can make that machine go off. So if you think of it like a printer, like when you're printing a piece of paper and you bump the printer, then it makes the whole print go off, and you have the print that kind of goes to the side. Think of that as being your house, right? And they can fix it, but then you have to hire specific engineers that watch this whole print and the pour the entire time. They have to be specialized, so they're more expensive than a traditional crew that's building a house. You'd have to build several of them in a row exactly the same in order for them to be cost efficient. The building material itself to pour these 3D printed homes, nobody knows what it is. It's a secret sauce, a magic sauce. So who knows if this is toxic or caustic? Nobody knows, because it's a trade secret what their mix of cement is. Then you think about it down the line, right? And you have an electrical issue, because a lot of times there's walls, and interior walls are this poured concrete as well, right? And it all looks like tubes of toothpaste. Like if you were taking toothpaste, it'd go like this. And you have an electrical issue, and then you have to cut into the wall. How are you going to make that look normal with the rest of the wall? You're not.
Yeah.
There's no way to replicate that with the same secret sauce, because as well as I do, every time you pour concrete, the color is going to be completely different. Completely different. Even if you were to mix it exactly the same, it would still look different.
And like Charlton is saying, for a parent to tell a child to stand in the corner would drive the child insane.
I know, like, where's the corner? Where's That's funny. Yeah. 3D printing, I think its possibility is to build a ton of little square affordable housing. The practicality of it being for a traditional middle class or upper middle class home is, I think it's a pipe dream. Because the thing is, it's not cost effective. It's just not a cost effective for the builder. It's not a cost effective for the homeowner. I guess if it is a lot more fire resistant than like traditional home building with sticks and paper and all that, it has that going for it. But in that case, why don't you just go with cinder block and then spray the outside with stucco instead of doing?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, you would have less. It would be less expensive to do it that way than to do the fancy 3D printing. Unless, you're just one of those people that kind of like the first person in line to buy the Cybertruck. You want to be the first person in line to buy a 3D printed house. It's a good concept. I don't think it's practical.
It sounds like, 3D printing too, like in general, is mainly used for prototyping, or like quick changes, like a lot of not trying to mass produce items, which is mass production, where you're looking more into like the large scale affordability. So it seems like the 3D printed homes would be much more about like customizing each home, so each person could kind of slightly tailor their home in a different way than the other person's, rather than having mass scale. 3D printing isn't really it doesn't really shine in the mass scale side, but it does. Some of these 3D printed, at least prototypes, are pretty cool looking. Yeah, they have some like really interesting. I really like the texture that comes with it.
I think it looks like rolled poo. I don't like it. It looks like
That's fair.
Squeezed poo. I don't like it. I don't like
I'll
it.
say, yeah. What are you eating? You must have some crazy fiber going on in your diet.
I am a regular girl. Anyways.
Yeah, you got that. That's that Activia type 3D printing over there.
I just think that I just think it's a great concept, they have to figure out how to bring down the cost in order for it to work.
Yeah.
You know, it says that made at a fraction of the cost, which is total horse crap, because the material to build it's not true. It's the same price. It is the same cost as traditional building. I don't know.
Kind of reminds me of the Teletubbies goop thing.
Yeah. I don't think
You know what I'm
most of my audience knows what a Teletubby is. Yeah, I mean, they say they're sustainable and biodegradable. I mean, but you could do your dome home for the same thing. And I would trust a dome home over a 3D printed house. They've stood the test of time. They've already tested these for years. This is a new concept.
Yeah.
You know, keep in mind that project sprint time may exclude time from any second fix installations or construction time necessary to piece together a project printed on site and then transport it to its final location. And you don't so if you were going to print that in a factory and then drive it down the road, how many tons of how many, that's heavy. It's concrete. You're gonna print it in a factory and then bring it to the site.
Yeah.
How is that?
Isn't concrete also not it's not super sustainable, right?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not that kind of, I don't understand concrete and if it's healthy for you or not. There's people that say that it's fine. There's other people that say that it doesn't. All the houses in Florida, code is you have to build it with concrete block, but that concrete block is sealed and it's got stucco over on the top of it. What I see from these 3D printed houses, it's sealed and then that's it. They just put this coating over top of it and it's mixed with whatever the secret sauce is that it's mixed with.
Yeah, I really think the only selling point of a 3D printed house is you could design it however you wanted to versus a prefab or something like that is that's way more difficult to do versus 3D printed. You can kind of set up however you want, but yeah, it's not a really great affordability option. It's more of a very niche, expensive option, which may work for some people, but probably is not going to be a great large scale affordability solution.
Nope. Charlton says that. Did you ever try to paint concrete? It doesn't last. Well, you paint stucco in Florida. I don't know what that concrete mix is, but it is some kind of plaster of some sort that allows you to paint it. Am I keeping you awake? Did you just yawn?
It's not you. It's not a you thing. I promise it's not a you thing.
All right. So we had another article that came in. We went on a tangent. Lawnmower is convinced that Teletubbies are actually the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard that theory. I'll have to dig into that one.
Byron says 3D printing is new. I see a program on a project here in Texas somewhere. Would you say 3D printing is more specialty method of building than cinder block construction? It is a specialty. It's one of those things that when we're talking about affordability, not one answer is going to be the answer. And in some cases, 3D printing will answer an affordability issue in some areas. Like I said, if they were to build them very small, the same type of floor plan, one right after another, it would be one piece of the huge puzzle to solve the affordability crisis. But if it was me, the 3D printing would work for that on that small scale. If you got any bigger, you might as well just go with cinder block. Yep. And then somebody asked about those Lego built homes. Those are great. Those are the same kind of idea.
What's that?
It's a material that it has a concrete base, but it's mixed with other things and they connect together just like Legos. And the way that they, when you do concrete block, you do it like this, you do one block and then you put the other block and then it's put together with some kind of, grout, right in between those. But with the Lego ones, they connect together.
Is it oh, my little present thing is on the other thing. Is it this?
Oh, wait, you gotta, if you want to
I
present
know. Hold
something.
on. One second.
Okay.
There we
All
go.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it
Yep.
that?
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Wow. Okay. That's kind of cool.
Yes. And they do work, and they're insulated too. And they have
So what's the structure inside of those things?
it's a trade secret again. It's filled with some kind of foam of some sort,
Okay. Huh.
and they connect together and they work.
Wow. So I guess that, I mean, you
Wild,
don't
huh?
have to like fill the spaces with anything. I mean,
They're
that's like,
filled. See, they're already filled. Each one of
but
those blocks are filled.
like, couldn't moisture still get through some, like, right, like those two that were like butting up against each other?
Well, I'm sure they still wrap them with Tyvek. I would assume they'd
Oh,
still
yeah.
wrap
I
those
guess that
with
makes sense.
Tyvek because they have to.
Huh.
Moisture still has to weep out of the
Yeah.
house because that's. I mean, that's a very tight ship right there. I mean, like in comparison to
Yeah.
traditional homes, I mean, they would have to have some kind of dehumidifying system. there's
Whoa. Why are we seeing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse right now?
yeah,
Why do their faces look like that? Is that what they normally look like?
yeah, they're just aliens. They're just little
Hell,
toddler
hello,
aliens.
Tubbies. Those look
Eddie.
way scarier than I remember. Oh my god, I guess they are kind of creepy.
You just didn't remember that.
Oh yeah,
More-
they're actually super creepy.
So Overjoyed asked if it was foam or rock wool. It depends on the company. So some of them fill it with. I've even seen them filled with a blue jean type material where it's like recycled blue jeans where they take old blue jeans and they stuff the Legos with the blue jeans. Some of them are filled with foam. Each company has their own like take on how they want to do these little Lego blocks.
Yeah.
It's again another facet in the solution. They really are really insulated. You know, Missy Lulu says, "Wow, those are really insulated." Yeah, yeah. I mean, and like think about the noise you wouldn't hear because of that. Because each one of those blocks
yeah.
are filled, and you wouldn't hear nearly as much as you do now.
Yeah.
I'd be on board. Eddie wants to know if the base looks like this. Remember back in the day, you put down the
wait, slow down. I'm not past step 1.
Look, this is how we build our houses. I'd do it.
Hey, if it gives me a cheap house, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, you could also get a cheap house in Detroit, Michigan.
That's true.
They have houses like sometimes they'll have these houses in Detroit that will go on auction for like $10 because they're trying to refurbish an area. So you have to get in there and you can.
Does it come with back taxes too?
No, so that's the whole deal. You have to
nice.
refurbish it. You can't sell it in so many like you have to own it for X amount of years and you have to bring it up to code in so many years.
Man, WikiHow really has an article on everything, don't they?
Yes.
That is the weirdest website. I feel like you can find there's probably a WikiHow on how to defeat all 4 Teletubbies when they become the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. WikiHow.
We have another article we're going to see while Kyle's playing on Legos.
I'm looking up some weird stuff over here.
Eddie, can you pull up that other article? Somebody said, Kyle, stick to lending. Jennifer Lego says, stick to lending, buddy.
I want to get my Teletubby theory over here. I'm finding some weird pictures on the internet right now.
All right, mortgage rates surge for the second straight week after hitting 2-year lows. This is right up your alley. We're going to talk about this. Is prospective homeowners waiting on the sidelines for further drops in mortgage rates received unwelcome news on Thursday. The average rate on standard 30-year fixed rate mortgage was 6.32 in a week ending October 10th. Mortgage financing provider Freddie Mac said on Thursday It was at its largest 1-week increase in mortgage rates since April. In the second straight week, rates jumped higher after falling for a 2-year low last month. Mortgage rates have steadily trended downward since spring. The Federal Reserve's cut last month ignited hopes that mortgage rates could trend downward. But the stronger than expected jobs report last week caused bond yields to jump. Mortgage rates tracked the benchmark at the 10-year Treasury yield. I think I'm coming down with something.
Oh, no.
I know. All right. Keep scrolling. You should remember that the rise in rates is largely due to the shifts in expectations, not an underlying economy, which has been strong for more than a year. Freddie Mac's chief economist said in a statement, although higher rates make affordability more challenging, it shows the economic strength that should continue to support the recovery in the housing market. Every single time that people connect interest rates to affordability, I have to remind them that the median price for a home in the United States is $425,000. A good portion of the United States cannot afford the median price home. It's so crazy to me. But I mean, like, where was the lowest that it hit? It was almost at, what was the lowest that hit 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It was like six.
It was just
Super low, like 6.1.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was like 6.03. I thought that's what it was. Maybe I was wrong, but anyway.
Yeah, my take on I know that a lot of people are kind of on the sidelines thing, and I think it really comes out of I think a lot of people who are looking at buying now were kind of in the beginning process stages of looking at buying when COVID happened. And that's when people saw rates have this crazy historic low drop down to like the 3% range. That range is just simply not going to come back for a long time. The government is doing the opposite of what they were doing at that time. And so I feel bad because I feel like a lot of people have been misled by a lot of content creators and news articles and stuff online when it comes to rates. And my thought with rates is really very similar to kind of investing with stocks. So if you have like a retirement portfolio, or maybe you do your own sort of like stock trading for fun, there's kind of this classic advice when it comes to trading any sort of like investment, like a stock, for instance, is you don't try to catch a falling knife. You try to catch a falling knife, you end up getting hurt, right? And so that's applicable in trading stocks because it's almost never worth it to try to time the market. Because what a lot of people try to do is they might look at a stock like Apple and they're going to see, I'm going to buy right at the bottom and then it's going to go back up. Well, it's just almost impossible to do that. Even when you look at hedge fund managers who manage billions of dollars of different trading accounts and are supposed to be the smartest people who do it, they often don't have better odds over historical period than the flip of a coin. Like hedge fund managers don't have a higher percentage of success of timing the market more than 50%. And so why would anybody try to time the market and try to be better than people who spend their livelihood and millions, if not billions of dollars creating algorithms to try to time the market correctly? It's how I view interest rates as well. Because it's traded on a secondary market, it works very similarly to stocks where nobody knows what's going to happen. And so I'm just not going to try to time it because I don't know what's going to happen. If I wait longer, it might go up, it might go down, but nobody really knows until we look at the past. And so my thought is always buy when it makes sense for you based on how it's going to change the quality of your life. And if it's still something that you can afford. Absolutely, higher interest rates make it more difficult for people to afford a home. But if you're at that spot where you're like, I can afford the payment now, and I found the house and I need this house to be able to change the quality of my life in the way that I want it to. I either need an extra room because you're expecting, maybe you're expecting a child, or you need a larger backyard for your dog or something like that. I would rather purchase now and know that you can always refinance in the future if needed, rather than trying to time the market, because it's just impossible to time the market. If you could time the market, you'd be a multi-billionaire.
I wanted to give you a little kudos though, because you came
I'll
on
take
here. Yeah, you came on here a couple weeks ago and you said interest rates are going to go much lower than they are right now. You said I cannot see it going much lower. That even though the Fed may have dropped it, you're not going to see rates go down in the fives because the Fed cut the rate. That doesn't affect mortgage rates the same way. And you said this is probably going to be the lowest that you see it this year. You said that.
Wait, here we go. I always have my handy dandy crystal ball.
I have one of those too
with me at all times, and it warps my. Oh, you have a real one. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god, I need to get one of those.
You did it. You said it. You were right. You were right. And I always say that too, though. Real estate is about what you need at your moment. And I would tell anybody that if you were planning on moving, if you were thinking, oh, I'm going to buy a house now, I'm moving 3 years, don't do that. That's stupid. If you're not planning on living in that house, I say 5 to 7 years, don't buy a house. Don't freaking buy it. You're spinning your wheels, you know? So
yeah, I'm much more aligned with you on my kind of 3 rules are like, I think you need to have a 3-month emergency fund at minimum after you pay for your down payment and closing costs. You need to buy a home that's affordable to you, that actually works inside your budget, doesn't like pull away from your retirement or vacations or college funds, things like that. And then also you need to be able to live in it for at least 5 years. Because when we've taken a look at like home price declines, the past 4 that have happened, I think since 1960, the average time for you to recoup your money if you bought at the height, and then how long it would take for you to break even would be 5 years. So multiple of those were only 3. I think 3 of them were 3 years for you to recoup your money. And then in 2008, I believe it was 6 years to recoup your money. So I think the average is probably closer to 4, but I stay on 5 to be safe. But even in 2008, if you bought at the height and then waited 6 years, you wouldn't have lost any money in that time. So that's why I think that timeline is really important for how long you're actually going to stay in the house.
Yep. Monmar says, do mortgage rates increase with the demand for mortgages? Do the rates increase with the demand of mortgages going up? No.
That's an interesting question. No,
the demand for mortgages went up like crazy during the pandemic. That was like probably the best time of your life.
Yeah. I'm sure in an economic sense it has some impact, but it's so small that it wouldn't really change because mortgages are constantly being turned over, like who owns them on the secondary market. A new influx of demand isn't going to have that. It's going to be a tiny portion of the entire secondary mortgage market that is not going to have that much of an impact. And then also mortgages, not only do you have new mortgages, you have existing mortgages, and then they're also competing in the same bond space as things like treasuries. So it's this big pool that everybody's inside of. And so, a couple more people coming into the pool doesn't change things quite as drastically.
Unless they pee in the pool.
Unless they pee in the pool. And if you want to do that with your mortgage, you're welcome to do so. I don't know how you could do that, but I'd be really curious.
I couldn't help it. When you said pool, I was just like, no, not many people are going to leave the pool. I'm like, well, unless a little kid pees in it. That's how where my brain is.
So is it actually true that pool, like the chlorine smell, is because of urine reacting with chlorine?
You're asking me, who doesn't own a pool, that is the case. But I remember my dad.
You should know these chemistry questions.
Well, my dad used to, shock the pool and do all that stuff, and nobody was in the pool, and it always smelled like chlorine. They're like, my dad would take care of the whole pool, and it always stunk like chlorine. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's the case. So listen, ha 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 said, question, which holds more weight with lenders, credit score or income? I feel like credit score isn't as important as income these days.
Oh, interesting. I think the opposite. I guess it depends on what we're talking about. Credit score is the most important thing with getting an approval, which is what you need to get a mortgage. However, you could have a 800 credit score and get a really easy approval. But if your income is $30,000 a year, you're going to get an approval, but not for a lot. So I think that's it's the kind of two sides of the coin with this one here. I always think credit score is the most powerful thing, because really that's what we're looking for as lenders is, can we get you an approval? Now, when it comes to income, sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect when it comes, and this is where the affordability issue comes into play, is I can't tell you the amount of times I've had conversations with people who make, let's say, $30,000 a year, and they want to buy a $300,000 house. And no credit score is going to make that work. And it's not because of the mortgage. It's just simply that house is too expensive. The monthly payment is just not going to work inside of a $30,000 per year budget. So yeah, it really, I guess it's like two sides of the same coin, if that's the correct saying there.
You bet you answered it. Good job. The whole thing with credit that kind of blows my mind is that like everything you do is tied to it. Even getting a job these days. Like I was listening to a podcast and this girl was denied a job because her credit score wasn't as high as the other guy. So she didn't get the promotion. And to me, that's gross.
Is that legal?
I don't know if it's legal or not. I
was
had
it a
turned
financial
off the podcast.
position?
Well, it was some kind of accounting position within her company. And HR was basically saying that because of the position itself, that they wanted to make sure that they could if you can't handle your own personal finances, what makes you think you can handle the company's? And that it was part of the hiring process for this position. I didn't get to hear the whole thing to find out if it was legal or not, but I was like, oh, that sucks. That totally
I know.
sucks.
So even on the mortgage side, I don't know if you have to do this as a realtor, but I have to get my credit checked. I mean, somewhat on a regular basis. I mean, when I initially got licensed, and then also since I'm now under a federal bank, I think they have to check it yearly. But they don't care about the credit score. They more care about one. I don't even think it's actually about can you handle your own finances versus the company's. I think it's more about does it create opportunities for potential fraud, is I think more of what they're looking at, because someone who may be in a situation where they either their finances haven't been handled correctly, or there's the impression that their finances haven't been handled correctly, maybe things like medical collections or something that they were not part of their financial readiness, or are things out of their control, more presents opportunities for there to be potential fraud if you're handling money inside of different companies. I think is more of the why they check that stuff inside of like financial institutions. It still sucks.
Yeah, I still think they need to do an overhaul on that.
Yeah.
Larry
credit in general just needs an overhaul.
Yeah, I know. The world needs an enema. That's for sure. Larry said something.
I'll let you administer it.
He said, so many agents think they know everything there is to know about real estate. They usually only know their small niche in the of the big picture. That is 100% the truth. That's why I don't touch luxury listings. I don't do luxury sales. I don't, it's not my ball of wax, and I will gladly hand it over to somebody that's a hell of a lot more experienced at that, because my name goes on everything. When you do something for somebody, that's your name and it follows with you. And no, I don't want to hear anybody say anything like she did a terrible job for me, and knowing that I did a terrible job because I didn't know how to do that part of real estate. I'd much rather give it to someone that knows how to do it.
Yeah. There's so much ego in the real estate world.
Oh, I know. I concur. Proud Liberal 24 says, depends on the market. I lost my shirt in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Okay.
Oh, there's plenty of shirts for sale in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. There's all those like shops.
You like that little dad joke? Did that dad joke really help out there?
Oh, here we are with your question about toilets.
Yeah, this is pressing. Okay.
Yeah, swimming pools are basically huge toilet bowls. We've all peed in them, to be honest. Okay. And a new study is stirring up our guilt by showing that urinating in chlorinated pools creates toxic chemical called, I'm not even going to try to...
Cyanogen chloride.
Thank you. Cyanogen chloride forms when the chlorine from the pool reacts with the nitrogen in the urine. It acts as tear gas, roughing up eyes, nose, and lungs, and is classified as an agent chemical warfare. Everybody's doing saltwater pools now anyways. So maybe we've gotten away from the chlorine. Here in Louisiana, that's the thing. The saltwater pools are more of a thing.
I would like to defend myself and say I have never peed in a pool. There's a lot of silence there.
I've been in a pool since I was, I don't know. I don't know.
Look,
Like I've been in pools since I was little, and I know darn well when I was a kid, I had no problem, no shame, because I did not want to get out of that
y-
pool.
yeah, I just haven't done it before. The ocean is the Wild West. Who no one I can't claim that with the ocean, but a pool, no. I haven't done that.
I
You
know
can't
that I
prove it.
have. I'm not a liar. I did it. Kingston City the First says, how do you get a mortgage approved with no credit score?
Okay, so you definitely can. The only issue with getting a mortgage approval with no credit score is they're going to act like effectively you have a bad credit score. They're not going to give you the best interest rate because you have no credit score. Those are reserved for people who have a credit score. So often, when we're looking at interest rates on the back end because they're connected to your credit score, no credit score often is going to get the lower rung.
Yeah, wrong.
I don't know
Is that
what.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
lower
All right.
rung.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
the
did that
lower
right.
rung option for the interest rate. So that being said, to get an approval with no credit score, you have to truly have no credit score. You can't have a bad credit score and make this work. So no credit score at all. What they're going to look at is things like your rent. So they want to see that you've paid your rent on time for the past 12 months, and they want verification of that. And then they're going to look at what we're going to use as trade lines. So these could be things like maybe you have like utility bills. We're going to look at 12 months of utility bills, phone bills, insurance, things like that. Anything that's a repeating recurring payment that we can prove over the past 12 months to build up a credit profile is what we'll use. And I will say, I think Dave Ramsey has done a pretty big disservice to a lot of people, saying that they shouldn't have credit, because then when they go to get something like a mortgage, you're going to spend, frankly, tens of thousands of dollars more on a mortgage than somebody who has a high credit score. And I've always kind of been under the credit. Well, it's not even a belief. It's just true. The way I like to teach credit is that you don't have to spend a dime in interest to have a perfect credit score. You do not have to spend interest at all to have a perfect credit score. It's just not required. It's not part of the algorithm is paying interest. It's only about, you could take out a secured card and pay it off. You could have one card and pay just for gas, pay it off every single month and have a perfect credit score. So I think that that's best if you're looking at buying a home. The issue is most mortgages want to see at least 2 years of credit history for the best odds of getting a mortgage approval.
Dave Ramsey lives in a different world in his brain.
He does live in a different world.
I mean, I
always
do
heard
think he's great. I really think he's like, if you've caused yourself massive financial problems for yourself and you're trying to dig yourself out of that, I think he has some solid advice to get you out of that situation. But if you're just trying to truck along in the world and you've been doing pretty good, like his whole idea that you have to put X amount of dollars down in order to be able to afford a house, and you only should be getting a 15-year mortgage, and that's just not realistic for a good majority of people in the world.
Mhm.
It's just not. So I mean,
Yeah.
if you waited, a lot of times you would have, now you're end up paying more because you waited to have that nest egg of enough money to put down to be able to afford that payment of 15 years. It's,
Yeah.
again, I just don't think he's very realistic. Proud Liberal 24 said live stream has a different meaning when you're talking about swimming pools. Yeah.
You can't prove anything.
Yeah. Live stream for the pool next week. I wonder what my neighbors would think. We have a community pool here. I could just pull it all out, be sunbathing.
Ooh. I can show off my sick. You want to see this farmer's tan? Look at this.
Look at
this
that.
hard line between these two.
That is a working man right there.
I know.
Good for you.
These hands are rough.
Yep. Byron says, with credit in mind, do you think income and credit are in line with each other, or high income with bad credit hurts it more? I hope I'm clear.
Oh, yeah. I actually get this question a lot.
Mhm.
And I really, they're honestly different things. Income really isn't like about, are you going to get an approval or not? What matters to getting a mortgage approval mainly is going to be your credit score and then your debt to income ratio, and they work kind of hand in hand. So your credit score, the higher it is, the easier it is to have higher debt to income ratios. The lower it is, the harder it is. And then obviously debt to income is going to impact, or it's going to include what your income is in there. So I know it's it's difficult to say because they all kind of mesh together. There's not one that ranks better than the other ones. But yeah, they're all this kind of cohesive piece, or as someone said earlier, I think a confluence of something. Yeah, something like that. They said it much cooler than I could. But credit is mainly going to be about, can you get a mortgage approval or not? The income is going to be how much of a mortgage amount are you going to be approved for, if that makes sense. Again, because you can have an 800 credit score, make $30,000 a year. You can get an approval, but it's not going to be for a $600,000 house.
Right.
On the flip side, you can make $1 million a year and have a 500 credit score. You might technically be able to afford a $600,000 house, but you might not get an approval for it because your credit is low.
Yeah. You're a risk. You're a big giant risk. Credit report is like, why?
Which I completely agree. Credit is our credit system right now sucks. And I wish it would be completely changed, but yeah.
The Sim Architect says, why do they care so much about your tax return when you can demonstrate your ability to pay much more on your rent than your future mortgage payment?
Tax return, you can demonstrate your ability.
Well, they're verifying your income. That's the tax returns for verifying your income.
Yeah, tax returns for verifying your income. I absolutely get your argument here, though. Unfortunately, mortgages don't really consider rent history as like a. Sometimes you can include rent history as like a small factor in your mortgage approval. It's kind of difficult to meet all the qualifications for it, though. I wish it was part of the picture. I don't know why it's not, because it is. It's one of the biggest monthly payments people have.
If you don't pay it, it ruins your credit score. So why shouldn't it be?
Yeah, I absolutely agree that it should be included in mortgages and your credit score. I think that the main thought behind it, though, is that with renting, there's way less at stake for somebody there, because if you stop making a rental payment, you can be evicted and nothing really gets lost. Versus when you get a mortgage, you're actually borrowing several hundred thousands of dollars. So a bank loses that money effectively, and then it's a more expensive process to foreclose on a home than it is to go through a rental eviction. So that's why the credit standards are a lot tighter. And I completely understand the frustration of, I pay $2,000 a month in rent, but I can only get approved for a $1,500 a month mortgage. Absolutely get it. It seems crazy on paper, but that's just somewhat, if that helps explain why there's that difference there, is that there's way more risk. There's way more at stake for the person that's lending you hundreds of thousands of dollars, versus for a rental, no one's actually lending you money, which is why the credit restrictions are a lot tighter on a mortgage.
Is it worse to have bad credit or no credit? What's worse? I've always heard it was worse. Or it's worse to have bad credit than no credit? Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
See, I always heard that it was worse to have no credit than bad credit. That's what
no.
The knowers of all have said.
No. Yeah, I hope I didn't give that impression, because that's why I wanted to get it clear. Yeah, low credit is very difficult to work with. It can definitely be done, but it makes things really complicated because it's not just about the credit score. Usually it's lower because there's issues like late payments, there's collections, there's different charge-offs, there's things like that, maybe some potential judgments. All those have to be factored into the approval equation differently, versus no credit score is, as long as we can get document, again, that rental and then 2 to 3 other trade lines of things like utilities or bills, then it's pretty smooth sailing after that. And then for those people, what I usually suggest is you now have a mortgage is reporting on your credit report, get a secured card or get a credit card, add on a couple other credit accounts, and then you can refinance into a lower interest rate mortgage after 2 years, because you should have a good credit score after that.
V-Man says, is it possible to get a different rate on your home loan by going with different lenders? Do lenders get better rates because of how much business they do? So like he's asking, if you go to like Bank of America and they gave you 6.5, but then you go to Wells Fargo and it's 6.2, why would it be a different rate with a different lender?
Yeah, all lenders do have different rates. There's like a million reasons why they can have different rates. Everything from You have huge companies that pay for Super Bowl commercials. Our
Mhm.
company doesn't pay for a Super Bowl commercial. Well, who ends up paying for a Super Bowl commercial? You
You
do.
do.
And you pay for it through your rate. So if you see a mortgage company that has tons of advertising, you're paying for that advertising through your interest rate.
But
It
they
could
had a
be
cool
things like,
caveman and a little
I know, I know it's disappointing, isn't it?
I know, a little
Or
gecko.
or it could be things like how much they pay their loan officers. If they pay their loan officers a lot on every deal, then you're going to get a higher interest rate versus if they don't pay their loan officers a lot. What was the other question? The second part to that question?
And he's gonna put it back up. Edward, can you find that question again?
I kind of blanked on it for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, better to get how much business they do. In some circumstances, yes. Not with every lender, but for instance, like our company brokers loans, meaning that we work with like a bunch of different lenders. And the more business that we do, the lower rates we do get. And so the nice thing about brokering is if you work on a small team, you don't get those price incentives. But we work with a much larger team, where with one of the wholesale lenders we work with, we are one of their largest clients, I guess. I don't know, affiliates. I don't know exactly the word to use. And so we can get lower rates than other people can because we send so much business to them. But not every lender structure works that way. So I know that was a complicated non-answer, but there's so many factors in there. I guess I could
Sometimes
talk
you
about it for like an hour, but
sometimes you get like a lower rate, but then they're tucking other numbers somewhere else.
well,
Like
there's a lot of lenders right now that are doing a lot of what I call point stuffing, which is
yeah.
they'll give you a low rate, but people don't look at the costs. So if you get a loan estimate, section A and B are going to have the cost from the lender. Everything else is not a cost from the lender. It's an estimate of third-party fees. But
Yeah.
section A and B, we're seeing people send us, because we have a way that people can send us quotes and we'll compare them to what we offer. And we're seeing lenders that are charging 10, 15, $20,000 in upfront costs. And we can offer those clients the same rate with no costs. And so I don't know what these people are doing or where they're working, but I don't know. It's rough.
Peggy says, would a home equity loan work as well as a mortgage to improve my credit mix? Would a home equity loan work as well as a mortgage to improve my credit mix?
So there are two different types of credit. Actually, I'm sorry. They're both installment loans. I was thinking of a home equity line of credit. They're both installment loans. They should have a pretty similar impact on your credit mix. Usually for credit mix, you're going to be looking at things like installment accounts, which would be installment accounts are basically you have one big balance and you pay it down over time and it never goes back up. Revolving is you have a credit limit, starts at zero, and you can build it up and pay it down like a credit card or home equity line of credit. That's usually what you want to do with credit mix is if you have a lot of installment accounts, add in some things like a secured credit card or regular credit card. If you have a lot of revolving accounts like that, then you want to look at installment accounts. Installment accounts are kind of hard to just throw on your credit report. You can do things like I know there's different like credit builder tools that will allow you to like pay down installment accounts for a small fee and stuff. But trying to think what else. Even things like I bought my couch, and there's a lot of incentives sometimes you can get where it's like if you put it on an account, you'll get 10% off, and I just paid it off the next month. So I got it on my credit as an installment account, but I didn't pay any interest on it, and I got a discount. So things like that can also
Rooms
help
to Go
improve your
does
credit
that.
mix.
Rooms to Go does that.
What is it? Rooms to Go?
Yeah, you've never heard of Rooms to Go?
No.
It's kind of like an Ashley Furniture. They do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Proud Liberal likes my glasses.
Okay, hold on. Didn't you have glasses that one was a square and one was a circle?
I did not have those, but I do. I have this pair, and then I have the circles. I have these pair too.
Huh. Maybe I'm just.
They're all this. I buy them in a pack from Amazon.
Oh, that's cool. They are cool. I do like them.
They're just so I can see the screen. I can't see close up anymore.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say thank you, Peggy, for being a channel member and being a channel member for quite some time. I appreciate you. I have channel memberships. I don't do anything with them. I should, and I think I'll do some more personalized live streams for channel members. I have a few. I think there's maybe like 10. So it'd be kind of nice just to hang out with 10 people and talk about the pool, the chemical reaction in the pool.
You could also make your I had a YouTube rep for a while, and he kept trying to get me to do like a members only chat on live stream.
Mm.
So I don't know if you could do something like that too, but I was like, there's not enough people for it to be interesting.
At one time, there would have been a lot of more people, but I mean, I'm averaging around 250 people, so that wouldn't really work.
Yeah.
Clark, who's a moderator, thank you so much. Clark, it says, do you think it's better to utilize mortgage broker or mortgage lender? I would, if I'm just going to give you my opinion, I always work with brokers because they have so much more access to different types of loans through different avenues. You know, they don't have to just sell their company's products.
Yeah. I'm biased since I've always been in the mortgage broker world. I think it's better because I see what it's like on the back end. However, that being said, there are instances in which I guess my recommendation would be going with a broker, but being careful that you're not working with a broker that says they can do everything. Kind of like someone mentioned,
Real estate agents.
Kristina, you were talking about with real estate agents is trying to do everything. Is like, for instance, because brokers have so many products, it can be difficult to know how to do every single one. And often we'll see brokers who are like, I'll just do it anyway and try to figure it out as you go, which I just wouldn't recommend doing. And I would say most brokers are not going to do things like second lien HELOCs. They're not going to do rehab loans, construction loans, physician loans, even jumbo.
Loans.
Some manufactured, sometimes even jumbo in the broker world isn't always competitive. And so that's what I would be careful on the broker side. Is
condo loans. Have you heard of those?
I have.
Yeah.
Those actually aren't hard to do, but most people aren't aware of them.
Yeah, but you don't know how to do them, and you're asking the broker, and they're like, "Oh, let me swing a shot at that."
Yeah. So yeah, I think in general, there's like pros and cons to each, but I'm definitely on the broker side more for things.
So, and that's true of insurance agents as well. You know, that you work with one insurance agent that has a big, national name above the sign. They're only going to be selling that product to you. But if you work with an insurance broker that has access to all the different policies to get you the lowest rate possible, I don't know. I'm a big fan of an insurance broker as well. I've always used an insurance broker. I used to work with one specific home insurance company when I was doing my personal stuff, but they did me wrong. So I will never do that again. Who's on first says, if new builders are offering incentives, are they direct or transparent about all offerings and discounts, or is it more like negotiating with a car salesperson? That depends on the builder. The builders will sometimes give over a package and say, this is exactly what we're doing and this is what we're offering. Some builders do their own financing. Some builders will do the financing, the title work, and sell you the house. I don't know why that isn't a conflict of interest. I have no idea why nobody's said anything about them, but a lot of the bigger builders will do that. They do everything. But that allows for a bigger discount. But then who's watching over your protecting your asset? You're buying something from a company, and not like companies would hide anything. They're always on the up and up. Especially with title work. If it was me, that fee, if nothing else, hire an independent title person, especially here in Louisiana. How much is it really going to save you? I would do that, Yeah. So Kyle, what if people are wanting to get a hold of you? Oh, apparently the AI wants you to know you can defeat Teletubbies because they are sweet, friendly, and loved by toddlers. Teletubbies live in Teletubby land.
Teletubby land.
The baby son. Each Teletubby has their own interest, favorite toys, like a soccer ball. I don't know.
No, the AI is in cahoots with the Teletubbies. That is way too much of a definitive answer. They don't know that. They don't know that I can't defeat them.
Yeah.
And what? I can't defeat them because they're sweet, friendly, and love toddlers.
They're mind
Sound
melding them.
defense.
I don't know how we got into Teletubbies. Anyways, if anybody wants to get a hold
How
of
did we
you
get
and
there?
talk about your mortgage needs, you can go over to his YouTube channel, Win the House You Love. Look at them. He doesn't even have a beard there. He's a fresh shaven baby over there. Just
Yeah, just a little baby over there.
just a little baby. Look at him, fresh shaven. You go over there and watch some of his videos. He's got some good stuff. Everybody I know watches him, even real estate agents.
Oh,
I know. The realtors like to watch you.
realtors.
Realtors. I am a licensed real estate agent. We did establish that. If you're looking for a real estate agent in your area, you can go over to my website, which actually has the name of my brokerage on it, which is eXp Realty. You can click on any of the pink buttons, fill out the form. Please make sure to put in your telephone number and I'll give you a ring. But yes, it says it right there on my website that I'm a licensed realtor. Right there. There's my license.
And there's free feet photos over there too.
Yes, there are free feet pics. My kids are always horrified by that. But yeah, just go ahead and fill
Maybe
that out.
I need to
Let's
put
check with the
some.
agent.
I should put some on mine. I'll work on that.
Yeah, you're gonna put some feet pics up.
Yeah.
If you guys want to share this as a live stream with people and you could talk about Teletubbies and urine in the pool, you could go over to anywhere you listen to podcasts. Look for Kristina Smallhorn with Real Estate with Everybody, with everyone. Kristina Smallhorn, Real Estate for Everyone. Just go ahead and just take a listen, share it with your friends. And we now have a very cool outro that I want everybody to take a listen to that I created myself. I didn't create this song, but I did create the video. You're gonna have to take a listen, Kyle. Thank you,
I'm
moderators.
excited.
Thank you to our super chatters, and thank you for our channel members. I haven't seen many of you guys in here, so it was nice to see you guys today. All right, roll that outro, Eddie. Let's don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, Kyle. I want you to hear this outro. Teletubbies are sweet, isn't it?
I'm ready for it.
Kristina signing off. This stream's about to close. Tiny homes, big dreams, the wisdom she bestows. Real estate queen, always keeping us in toes. Hustle on 1,000, every vibe she shows. Goodbye, Kristina, see you next time. In a world full of chaos, you bring the prime. From modular homes to the mortgage climb. Catch you on the flip in the next run. From mobile homes to mansion goals, Kristina's wisdom breaking molds. Dropping knowledge like we dropping gold. Fuel is locked in, never getting old.